Bob here, and tonight I'm talking a little bit more about the Diablo 2 Resurrected release, some updated information they provided, and the release time. So we're going to jump right into this. To start with, there's a post on the Diablo 2 Resurrected forums, specifically addressing console lobbies, TCP/IP, and Ultrawide. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I just want to talk about how this might impact users and whether or not this should be a deal breaker for anyone. So first off, console lobbies and chat. I'm not going to read the whole thing. You can go through this. I'll link it below. But the gist of it is, at launch, there will be no console lobby and no chat system beyond using voice chat where available. It's kind of disappointing. They do mention that they're going to be updating the matchmaking system, which from my understanding from other people, it was mostly broken. Now, I'm not a console player. This doesn't impact me. If I was a console player, this might be a deal breaker for me, as the lobby system and chat system is pretty important to the game. Imagine, you join a game and you need a teleport. You can't type anything. You can't ask for TP. It didn't seem like there was any way to do chat, even with pre-typed messages. There are some follow me type messages like the game has, but I feel like it's missing something. Overall, I'm very disappointed by this change. Even if they improve the matchmaking, I don't think that fills that gap completely. And you'll notice at the end of each of these, they kind of say, hey, we're going to be looking at this in the future and may make post-launch changes. I'm not holding my breath once it's out. Like a lot of the remasters and remakes from Blizzard, I'm not expecting a huge amount of updates, but maybe this one's different. I think they've done a pretty good job at the main game, but it's a lot of things around the edges that are kind of problematic here, and maybe they will address them. That's my hope, but I wouldn't buy this going with the expectation that these things may never change. Next up is TCP/IP. This is a bit shorter, but the gist of it is they're taking out TCP/IP, and they acknowledge that may create a hurdle for multiplayer modders in the community. Things like Project Diablo 2, Path of Diablo, / Diablo. There's a bunch of mods that support online multiplayer, and it sounds like with the TCP/IP changes, that's likely not going to be possible any longer. Maybe someone will figure it out, but the way that they're writing this out makes me think Blizzard is doubtful those same type of experience are going to be possible. It says, despite the change, a form of modding will still be possible. Players will have the ability to modify specific files, which include adjusting values of skills, items, and more. However, keep in mind the classic client of Diablo will still exist. So they're basically saying, you can make single-player mods, think maybe Median XL style, without any online. But if you want like an online experience where you can trade, interact with other players, I don't think that's going to be possible. Lastly is Ultrawide support, which I've got a couple of videos discussing. Basically, they say that 21x9 broke the game in some ways. In a scenario where players, for example, playing a ranged class were attacking monsters, players with a 21x9 monitor could hit enemies with the extra screen space, but monsters would not pull or react, but could still be defeated. Ultimately, the AI doesn't register hitting from the additional distance. Now, I have some concerns. I mean, I've got hours and hours of footage from the alpha played in Ultrawide on my channel. I have never encountered this specific scenario. You can go and if you find any, let me know. I really wish they could have given us some examples, even like a GIF just showing, hey, here is where the game broke. I've seen some video examples, but it's always at like huge, like 31. I saw a 41x9 example where they're shooting like 10 screens off their playing area. And that's not what 21x9 is. In the end, though, they're only limiting it to 19x9. So like this change could be worse. It could be limited to 16x9 completely, which I think would be even worse. This is a deal breaker, I know, for some people. I know some people have commented and said that they're not buying it. I'm still going to buy it. It's annoying, but it's not enough for me not to buy it, as I've had a lot of fun with the alpha and the beta so far. And again, in the end, they say that they're going to continue to watch this and explore possible solutions. So maybe they'll come up with some. I've got some other solutions on the previous video, which I'll link. Things like adding in fog of war, things like limiting cast distance instead of just blocking out the screen. There's ways around this, I think, that could satisfy everyone. But in my opinion, this is probably a question of economy. If it costs more money to fix, then there are ultrawide users out there. They're probably not going to fix it. And ultrawide is maybe 5% of the player base. From recent Steam studies, it looked like it was even lower than that, though it is a growing segment of the audience. Overall, these are three things that are things I'm not happy about, things that are close to making me not buy the game, but it's not enough for me to hold off on buying it. Though, if you are a console player, I could totally understand, not wanting to buy it or buying the PC version instead. If you're an ultrawide user and you can't get over the bars at the 19:9 range, I totally understand your thought on that. And if you are someone who doesn't like the base game but only plays modding, like it makes sense that maybe you would steer away from this. Lastly, I wanted to just mention that Rod Ferguson, he is the main Diablo guy at Blizzard, did confirm that they're launching at 8 a.m. Pacific. That would be 11 o'clock on the 23rd. I am taking Thursday and Friday off, so I plan to have some content that day up, and I'll see what I can cover. But it's good to know what time it'll be posted and when it'll be available. And it sounds like even if you look down here, they should be announcing preload time soon. So we should be able to preload it ahead of time, from what it sounds like on Rod Ferguson's Twitter page. Overall, I'd like to hear what people think about these confirmations. I'm overall displeased at all three things that they've elaborated on, and I feel like they could have gone into more detail on some of this. And if this is something that's preventing you from buying the game, let me know. If you've got any thoughts or anything that you think I didn't address, leave me a comment below. Thanks again for watching, everyone. Have a great day.